Good evening, everyone, and welcome to today's session. I hope yesterday NLP session was fruitful and you have understood the nuances of natural language processing. Today, we are going to focus on Python. However, the topic says Python and AI. But if you see the structure and the content which is proposed as per CBSE syllabus, it's 90% of Python language that they are talking about, and it's just 10% where they have mentioned a few library. By leveraging those ready-made function from those libraries, we could do some of the functions which automate our work. So I will take you through the chapter from the app, and the chapter here you will see is divided into six topics. So if a teacher has to do it, is suggested that teacher should do it in 6 lessons as suggested. But if I were in place of you, I would have taken more than 6, because if I have students who have never done Python before, if they have done it, then it's a separate story. But if they are doing it for the first time, I would say that spend more time on this particular chapter, because it talks about the important fundamental aspects of any programming language. Like, forget about Python, even if they were to learn C basic or anything. So the chapter beautifully talks about what is a third generation language, why is Python important, what are variables, how data is stored, what are different data types, what are arrays, what is list, what is tuple. So we will see a lot is given in one chapter, which is being divided into then 6 subparts in the chapter itself. So if you see, this is chapter 7, B07, and lesson has here divided into 6 parts. So lesson part 1, if you see, so you have the presentation for lesson part 1, and the ebook itself has one full chapter which consists of multiple pages. So I would take you through the resources section, and like last class, we are going to use class presentation. Why I'm using these? Because I know at the end of the day you will also use it to explain it to your class. So if you are familiar with these slides, it will be an added advantage. The moment you do these in the classroom, then it's better to turn on this button for your students, because if you do it before, then students, those who are absent, might not be worried what they missed. But once you do it in the class later on, you can enable it for them to recapitulate at home. So I will just open first presentation, which is first part of the chapter. First part of the chapter is quite theoretical, in the sense that it talks about what is Python language. So these are the learning outcome of first chapter. This is understand the need for programming in modern technology, describe the history and feature of Python, launch and use Python notebook using Anaconda, understand virtual environments, and use basic print statements and comments in Python. So even if you were to do the commands which are given to try with any other platform which supports Python, or online compiler, or the command prompt, so then also your work is will be successfully done. So you need not to explicitly use Jupyter notebook, but as that is recommended as a part of the syllabus, it's great if you guide your students to download this platform as well. Now this is the structure. So ideally, how you should divide a 35 minutes lesson, that's breakup is given here. By the way, any idea what are comments? I'm sure the people in the room are IT teachers. So could you quickly put in the chat window what are comments? Here a word is used, comments. So my question to you is, what are comments? I'm waiting to receive the answers. Okay, uh, do I, okay, now I have a couple of answers. Let me just see. Used to explain the code, perfect. how to mark the comments in program. We are going to see how to mark. They give information regarding the program but is ignored by the compiler. Excellent. So these are non-executable statement of a program which increases the readability. So suppose आपने एक code लिखा है and you switch over the job, and now I come in your place and I need to understand what the previous person wrote, what is the purpose of this code. So if the code is properly documented with the help of comments, it will be easier for me. So comments are like English language statements which explain the purpose of the code, and they are ignored by the compiler. Now, how would compiler ignore it? It means you have to use a special symbol to tag them so that compiler knows ये statement execute नहीं करना है. So that's why some punctuation is used to mark comments in Python. We'll see what are those symbols. So there are different kind of comments. Comments can be single line, comments can be multiple line. So there is a different punctuation for single line comments and there is a different punctuation for multi-line comments. And we will see how they are different and which one we have to use. So as like every chapter, that's the USP of SuperTeacher books. There is a curiosity question or the startup question concept, I have to say. So this is curiosity story, which is called God Particle. So in this story, they have mentioned that we have known for years that atom is made up of proton, neutron, and electron. But scientists believe that even there are smaller particles hidden inside atom that couldn't be seen yet. So to study those particles, they built one of the most advanced machines in the world, the Large Hadron Collider, inside a 27-kilometer tunnel between Switzerland and France. It smashes particle at nearly speed of light to help scientists explore the tiniest building blocks of matter. So if a particle is being hit by the speed of light, you can imagine वो कितने छोटे-छोटे टुकड़ों में break down हो जाएगा. So this experiment creates about 15 million gigabytes of data every year, filled with complex mathematical values that are impossible to analyze manually. So how do scientists make sense of such massive complex data? And why did they succeed? Let's explore. So the idea here was the point of relating it to atoms and then speed of light and those minute particles. At times there is data set which is very huge. Like if atom I say is made up of million of smallest particles, and if we have multiple atoms, you can imagine the amount of data would be there. So that's why they're saying that in real life also there is million gigabytes of data that is being collected in a system. Now that data is of no use if nobody is analyzing it and nobody is making sense out of it. So how to make sense out of data? So to get sense out of data, somebody needs to analyze that. And that is where AI can be very useful. Like yesterday, I showed you a platform called uClassify. I pasted the feedback of about 200 parents there, and it quickly gave the sentimental analysis, mood analysis. So that's how there are multiple platforms which helps to this makes sense out of complex data that helps to analyze data. So nobody manually analyzes data. Now imagine the voting systems have gone digitized. So people are going to multiple booths, giving their votes. Now these electronic machines, they capture data, and finally the data is from one booth collected, yeah, one ward where of a voting area which is being collected. Then multiple ward data is being collected, it is collated, it is analyzed, and then that data is centrally pulled and seen that which party is winning. So nobody manually analyzes the data. That's the whole point. So how they analyze the data? There are ready-made libraries which have some functions, and these libraries are part of powerful languages in which we do coding. So that's the perspective of bringing in here. In Python, you would also study some library, ready-made library. So what is library? Library is a collection of functions that can do some job ready-madely for us. For example, if you have idea about Java, Java had maths library. Same way Python has NumPy library. So it also has a library for science related function. It has a library for statistics related function, which we can directly import and use, and that makes our life much so simpler and easier to do complex tasks. Now it says why programming? हमें programming क्यों करनी है? Because what is program? So if you look at it, it says that when I teach my students about, what is programming. So how do we do that? So there are a few terms that we should know ourselves, and our children should also then know about it. So computer is all about IPO. So you have something called, so there is something called input, which is when being processed by the processor, we get output. Now to convert input to output, we need to instruct computer. So how do we instruct computer? So to extract something out of computer, what we do is we say that we give instructions to the computer. अब जो instructions आप computer को देते हो उसको technical language में हम कहते हैं commands. At times one command is good enough, at times multiple commands are needed to get input from the output from the input. So instructions or commands are given to get output from input. Now when more than one set of commands are required, then so more than one command or multiple commands make a program. जब एक से ज्यादा कमांड लिखनी पड़ती है किसी काम को करने के लिए, तो हम कहते हैं कि वो एक प्रोग्राम बन गया है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, अगर आपको ऐसा बोला गया है कि यू एक्सेप्ट अ पर्टिकुलर नंबर एंड चेक वेदर इट इज अ प्राइम नंबर और नॉट, so that then it becomes a program to check whether a number is prime or not. अब जब आपके पास बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स होते हैं, फॉर एग्जाम्पल मैनी प्रोग्राम्स, जैसे माइक्रोसॉफ्ट वर्ड को ही अगर मैं एक एग्जाम्पल लें, सो देर इज अ प्रोग्राम to for mail merge, there is a program to draw a table, there is a program to do formatting. So many programs put together to provide specific functionality, like word processing की functionality MS Word provide कर रहा है. To provide specific functionality makes a software. And when many softwares of similar purpose are put together, so many softwares combine together to form a package. To form a package. So the smallest unit of any piece of code is your instruction or a single command. So this is the smallest unit of a code, and then many softwares combine to form a package, and then there are multiple packages which are put together. There are libraries in the packages. So that's how expand. Now what are we trying to say? That in सबको कोड करने के लिए जिसकी जरूरत है, एक कमांड लिखने के लिए जिस लैंग्वेज की जरूरत है, जिन प्रोग्राम्स लिखने के लिए जिसकी जरूरत है, when and then ultimately to form a software and to form packages of software, we need a language needed to interact with computer or to write instructions to make it work. ऐसी लैंग्वेज जिसमें जब हम इंस्ट्रक्शन लिखें तो कंप्यूटर समझ सके, दैट इज कॉल्ड अ प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज, एंड दैट्स द पर्पस ऑफ a programming language. Now the question here was, why do we need programming? What is programming? So programming is an act of creating instructions that guides computer to perform certain tasks or solve certain problem. अब प्रोग्रामिंग करने के लिए किसकी जरूरत है? एक प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज की जरूरत है. Now there are three examples given. Programming provides us these opportunities. We have whole library worth of information in easy access in our pocket. Second, we can work from anywhere. Third is we don't even need to go to a workplace. So you can 24/7 work from anywhere. We can control our home devices through phone using just voice commands. So these are examples of programming. Now, what is Python? Python is one of the best example of a user-friendly language. Can somebody put two reasons in the chat window? Why do you feel that Python is programmer's best friend? What is so special about this language? Please put your ideas in the chat window. One or two reasons why people feel that Python is the best language to start with. Okay, I've got some response. It's easy to understand. But why is Python easy to understand? Open source and libraries, that's correct. User friendly. So what is our native language? Our native language is maybe Hindi, English, whatever. So first, Python gives one opportunity for an individual to code in multiple languages. Second, if we talk about even English, the syntax is very similar to English. So it's simple and readable. The syntax is similar to English. That's why people feel it's very easy to use. And even, for example, if you were to swap two numbers in Java, you would write a 5-line program. However, in Python, you would write x comma y is equals to y comma x, and the value of two numbers will be swapped. So it's too easy to use also. Okay, so let's move ahead. So there are reasons given what are different programming languages, and why is Python's best friend for beginners, because you all mentioned the obvious reason. And when we go to history of Python, it says Dutch programmer Guido van Rossum went out and created a language that was both powerful and easy to use. So he's known as the founder of Python. His name is important. You should ask children to learn about it. So it's not about rote learning, but they should know and appreciate the contribution of someone who made such a beautiful language. Then these are the features. So just take a minute to to read on the screen what are the features given. So the first point that I mentioned, the syntax is English-like, which is easy to learn and understand. Same thing is given here. Support diverse applications like web development, AI, data sciences. Short, clean, highly readable code. Works across multiple operating systems. Seamless cross-platform development. Extensive libraries and framework continuously evolving through community contribution. Now, this is the best part. There is a community of Python. If, for example, you have written a beautiful code, and that to check whether a number is prime or not, and you say that why don't you add a is prime function to num library and you put it to the community. So if it is being accepted, maybe next version of Python have your function that you suggested. That was just one example. So people can contribute, and community keep the language keep evolving by the contribution of community. That's why we see there are many downloadable versions of Python. आप किसी भी प्लेटफॉर्म पे जाइए, इट सेज ये इस डेट का वर्जन है पाइथन का, ये इस डेट का है. सो even a new version comes within a week time also. Why? Because people keep contributing to the community, and then the language is getting enriched and evolved day after day. Now, what is uses of Python? Since it is renowned for the language is renowned for its ability to support the development of nearly all types of software. So what are these different type of softwares? There is web development, there is database development, there is development for machine learning, there is development for games and 3D graphics, there is development for networking, there is development for scientific and numeric need, business applications, education domains. So Python can contribute to any domain of work. Now they have this, the next few screens are about setting up Python Jupyter via Anaconda. So these are, I'm not going to take much time on it. It shows pehla step आप यहाँ जाइए, then you run the installer, you download the software, and then you open Navigator, and then they have set settings what to do for Python. So it's easy to follow, and you can simply see the screens and follow and guide children to themselves try at home, or do it in the school lab. I am sure you will download it for before and hand, but you can ask them that follow these steps to download the environment at home. You can even create virtual environments. To create a new environment, the steps are again given. Now, once your system is set up, you can execute the commands. Now let's see the command. We all know that the print function is being used to print on the screen. Now, first example, print hello world. So print is a function. Anything which is a function will come with these round brackets, and hello world is called as parameter. So the first print function has a string parameter, and second print function has a numeric parameter. So both would give the output. The numeric parameter need not to be put in double quotes. That's why it's just printing 500. The next statement talks about use of /n. So if you want to print the output on multiple lines, see here, it's given that first you print, it's written Python, then /n, it's easy and fun. So /n here is to introduce a new line. So after Python, a new colon, new line is being inserted and it's easy to fun. Then to display both numbers and string together, we can use comma to connect multiple data types. So to connect a text with a number, you write first data type, comma, another data type. So for example, 1729 is a Ramanujan number. 1729 is written outside quotes and is Ramanujan is written inside quote. But to connect both parts, you would use comma. Now, whenever there are complex codes, so then we add comments. We already discussed comments are the non-executable part of a code. So what does comment do? They increase the readability of program. Now here they have added one comment. This is a single line comment. So the punctuation used to add comment is hash here. So if you want to add a single line comment, you would use the hash punctuation to put the comment. But if it is a multi-line comment, you would use three times double quotes. So use a starting three times double quote, uh, write this is a multi-line comment, then whatever you want to write, and then close that part with three triple quotes. So three triple quotes for opening and three triple quotes for closing. Now, if we move ahead, this is the recap of the chapter. So in this first chapter, we learned about that programming is the foundation of creating any technology, be it AI technology or be it simple programming. Python is the most powerful and simple language used to do that. Jupyter is a beginner-friendly tool. Virtual environment help keep projects separate, and print and comments are basic essential tools. So this chapter was very, very simple. So in the interest of time, I will not spend much time on it. This is the suggested homework that you could give to the students to share. I so if you see this, sorry, I go back to my previous screen. Okay. So this is the recap question which is being given for students. Write one single line and one multi-line comment explaining your code. Research and list three fields where Python is used and explain 3 lines. Write 3 lines using Python function to display your name, class, and hobby. I think it's pretty simple. So we would just close this first chapter. And if you want to give some additional exercise to your students, it's available in the, if I come here in the chapters, so in the resources, additional worksheet is being given here. And other than textbook key, there are some additional worksheets which you can check and allot to the students. This is textbook and this is additional. So see here, there are multiple choice questions which are being given. So let us first finish the entire chapter. Then we will see, because chapter has 6 sub chapters. So there will be questions from everywhere. So we can try doing it once we have finished the entire piece of code. So we will go to resources, we will go to classroom presentation, and I will then open class presentation 2. I think I took the wrong chapter. So we'll first go to chapters. We'll go to chapter number 6. We were here. B7, sorry, Python programming. We'll go to lesson part 2. So this is chapter 2, means from chapter 7, the subtopic 2. We'll go to classroom presentation 2 now. And these are the learning outcomes. Okay. Now this talks about the concept of variable, how to declare them in Python, use the input function to take user input, application of operators, use of different data types, use type and perform typecasting. Okay, for my understanding, how many of you are teaching Python for the first time? Can you put it in the chat window? Have you taught Python before or will be teaching for the first time? So I'll wait for your replies and accordingly I'll make my pace to explain this. I hope my question is clear. I'm asking, um, will you be teaching Python for the first time or you are already teaching Python to other batches? I hope I was audible when I asked that question. See, I may go to very, very basic things. You may feel, what is she doing? We are being teaching for years and there is no need to explain all of this. So for me, it is it is necessary to understand that are we, is it the that you are being teaching Python from years now, or these will be like you are teaching a first few batches, maybe this year first batch, or you have just taught one or two batch. Accordingly, I'll decide the depth of the topics that I'll be taking up. Okay, by the time you answer, I'll go back to my drawing board, this Word document. And so let me see, is my basics not required? Okay. Okay. Already teaching. So we can directly start with NumPy and Pandas. That's great. So I will not directly start, but I'll go very fast in that case. So second chapter talks about what is variable and what is initialization. So you can just explain variables are placeholders that store data for a smaller period of time, and its value varies over a period of as the program execute. That's why from the word vary has come variable. Now variables can be of multiple types. That depends what kind of data you are storing in it. And for example, numeric variable, string variable, Boolean variable. So there is a specific naming convention that one has to follow for declaring variable. We all know that it should include some capital letters, some small letters, some numbers, and something which is not allowed is symbols like at the rate, percentage. So special symbols are not allowed. Only what is allowed: capital letters, small letters, and a special character called underscore. Secondly, it must start with a letter or underscore. Variable name cannot start with a number. Spaces are not allowed in variable name. Reserve words like print input cannot be used as variable name. So I cannot make a variable with the name input or with the name which is already a keyword. Variable names are case sensitive. It means a capital variable price with P capital, with all capital, or with all small are three different variables. So these are naming conventions. Now, any input you take in Python is of string type. So input is a function which is being used to take input. If you write just nothing in the boxes, then it displays an empty box. You can enter. If you want a message with the a box, with the input message, enter a name. You can see as in the output area, this will come up. But if you are just using an input function and left side you have variable name, by default all inputs are string input. So your name variable is a string type. So, but if you want any other type of input, for example, if you would have been asking user enter your age and you want to calculate somebody's age 10 years from now. So it means you want person to enter numeric age and you would add 10 to it to give the final outcome. But if I say age is equals to input, enter your age, and then I write age is equals to age plus 10, computer will give an error message because by default, it assumes every input is a text or string input. So in that case, we will come to the concept of typecasting, which means we need to convert the input given into from string to any data type that is required. Then these are assignment operators. Assignment operator assigns the value of a variable. So these are shorthand. Basically, they are also called as shorthand assignment operator. So in the interest of everyone, I'll quickly say that if suppose, for example, this is written x plus is equals to 5, it means this is equivalent to x is equals to x plus 5. So these statements are equal. You see, same way if x is divided by 4 likha hai, so then it means x is equals to x divided by 4. So this shorthand style of writing works with all the three operators, plus, minus, multiply, divide, and you can use it. For example, if you see, they have shown the output also. Number minus is equals to 12. It means first, in the first statement, they are assigning number as 12. Then they are saying after increasing, number plus is equals to 4. So the value is changing, and at all four places, these shorthand operators are used. So here it's written assignment operator. You would find in some of the books, the term would be shorthand assignment operator, because instead of writing this a sentence, you are writing this, so they are also called as shorthand operators. Now, arithmetic operators are plus, minus, multiply, divide. Percentage is to find the remainder, and double divide is to find the quotient, and double star is to find the power. It means if the value of x is 3 and I write it as x double power 3, so it means 3 raised to the power 3, that should be 27. So this is to give the power. They have taken example 7 raised to the power 3, 7 raised to the power 4. Then these are some output. Now relational and logical operators, the output of both relational and logical operator, the answer is, sorry, relational and logical, the answer is always Boolean, which means true or false. दोनों ही operator का. For example, if you are writing x is greater than 9, so it will be either true or false. And if you are writing x is less than 9 and y is greater than 3, something like this. So here and is a logical operator, greater than and less than are relational operator. But in dono ko, when you solve it, the answer would come in true or false only. So logical operators and relational operators always give answer in true or false. Double equals to is first relation operator, which checks whether the left two values are equal or not. For not equals to, you have a sign exclamation and equals to. Then less than equals to, greater than equals to. These are all relational operators. And, or, and not are logical operators. Then these are data types. So we have string data type, we have integer data type, we have float, we have Boolean. Please note that unlike Java or unlike C or unlike any other programming language, there is no data type called char. Here it's only string. So if you are dealing with single character, string can contain a letter, number. So char is no separate data type like Java here. Here we have only string. In some programming languages, you have large integer, small integer, short, Boolean, sorry, short, and then byte. But here we have only one data type, which is called integer. And then to store real number, it's only float here, and then Boolean. So these are different types of data types that we can use in Python. Integer can store positive numbers, negative numbers, both. And float can store number with decimals with positive or negative both. Boolean can represent values, as we said, like true, false, yes, no, on, off, enable, disable. Now, what is typecasting? Typecasting is a process of converting one data type to another. So typecasting is done, for example, in input function, especially. For example, if you want to take somebody's age as input or somebody's class, the example on the screen talks about class. So if you are taking somebody's class as input and you are saying class is equals to input, enter your class. So if you do not put this integer before, so it means class will be stored as a text data type. But to store class as a numeric data type, it's important to do typecasting. How do we do typecasting? We use this int function. So जो input से पहले int function लगाया है, that is to convert the class which is being input in the text type to integer type. Similarly, height of the the height of an individual is 5.2, 6.8, 4.3. So that's a real data, real type data. So that's called float type data in Python. So to take float type data, we would use the typecasting function float to convert the input. So input is usually in text, then we will convert it into float. So these are all examples of your typecasting. Typecasting is basically to convert one type of data to another, and in all these cases, input data is string, and we are converting the string data into integer, float, and boolean respectively. Now, this is the example that you can accept temperature in Fahrenheit, Celsius, and then you convert it to Fahrenheit and Kelvin. So we are asking the user to input the temperature in Celsius. We are storing it in float data type. Then we are converting using the formula Celsius into 1.8 plus 32. And Kelvin ke liye we are using the formula Celsius plus 273.15. And then the temperature in both the units are being displayed. For example, Celsius temperature is displayed here, and then Fahrenheit here, and then Kelvin here. So a simple program, but typecasting is being used to convert while we accepted the temperature in Celsius initially. If we will not put this float, it will be stored as a string. To convert string into float, we have used this typecasting. Now, recap of the chapter is variables are for storing values. Input is to collect data. Different type of operators are arithmetic, assignment, relational, logical. Python support 4 data types: string, integer, float, and bool. Bool is for boolean here. Typecasting, let us convert one data type to another whenever it is required. Now, this is students' exercise. I am sure student will be able to do it. Now, let's come to the third chapter quickly. Third chapter is about conditional construct, I think, if else, and because once we have introduced them to variables, print input statement, then it is about if else. So if else are also called as conditional construct. And in the course here, multiple nested if else is also given, and simple if statements are also given. Now, if else statements are always supported by conditions. And what are conditions? Conditions are logical expression or relational expression. Because we just now learned that the outcome of a logical statement or a logical or relational condition is in true or false. और हम if के साथ जो आगे जो भी चीज आप लगाते हैं उसका आउटकम ट्रू या फॉल्स ही होना चाहिए. So if true we do something whatever, and if not true then else we do something. इसका मतलब true है तो क्या करना है, वो command would come here, and false है तो क्या करना है, वो भी command will come here. Now every condition which is being attached to if else has to be a relational or a logical condition. So here I'm writing if true. Maybe if I were to write if x greater than 7, 5, or if I have to write a complex sentence and age less than 50. So anything which is attached to if has to answer in true or false. So here it says that the division of this chapter, time breaking, is given. Then it says real life conditions to code logics. So in real life, we have to take multiple type of decision. For example, if your score is more than 95%, you get a merit certificate. If your height is below 167 centimeter, you can't join basketball team. If you have a bike, then you should take part in the race. So these are conditions. ऐसे ही जैसे रियल लाइफ में कंडीशंस होती हैं, वी हैव कंडीशंस इन द प्रोग्राम आल्सो टू डील विद. फॉर एग्जांपल, if the battery is less than 20%, it should trigger you a warning to plug in into bed to get your system charged. If the server is down, it should show a maintenance notice. If the session is expired, then the user should be prompted to log in again. So these are computer related instances which are being given. Now how they are coded? They are coded with the help of if else statement. For example, here the program was to accept a number and check whether it is a multiple of 7 or not. So we have input one number. So it says input enter a number, and that number is what type? Is being typecasted into integer. Then we are checking if number divided by 7 is equals to 0, number is a multiple of 7, because here this percentage sign is remainder. It means if you divide the number by 7 and the remainder comes out to be 0, because percentage says remainder. So you divide the number by 7, find out the percentage. If remainder is 0, then it is a multiple of 7. Now, these are again working with if operator. So there are multiple conditions. If score is greater than 95, if height is less than 167, this is again a condition. It says Do you have a bike? So if bike is equals to yes, so equals to is a relational operator to match. So you are matching. If the value of bike is yes, so the answer would be either true or false. So if the answer is true, then print you should take part in race. So these are conditional constructs. Okay, my question to you is, this is another question. Okay, let me see if there is anything important, then I'll stop. Else I'll give you a small problem and then we will move on. This chapter has this much only. I want people in the chat window to write the if statement about what I'm writing here is um, a person is eligible to take part in an event if he or she is. So I'm writing my problem statement and I want everybody to try for the if else statement that you would write to do that is a now you have to write the if statement and there are three fields which are available with you: gender, which could be either male or female, and then there is level. So if somebody is playing at national level, level should be equals to national. And then there is physical disability, so level is a text field, gender is a text field, and then physical disability, if the person has physical disability, that's a Boolean field, yes or no. So I've given you three fields and a problem statement. I would want you to write in chat window. I would wait for everybody's response. What if statement you would write to execute this command? I'm saying a person is eligible to take part. So you have to print whether you are eligible or not and check a condition basis these three fields and the conditions given. Please write your answers in the chat window. Aruna ji, I can make out, we all know that it will be done with if else, but what will be the exact if statement? How would you write it in testing form? What are you going to check and what statement would you write? There's no, no punishment for sharing incorrect answer. You can try. You can write your responses in chat window. I hope people are trying. Okay. I don't see responses coming in. Let me just write one response in the chat window. So we said that if gender, our first condition is, that's a mandate because first condition is compulsory. Okay, so I got an answer from Padma ji. Excellent. Padmaji, that's correct way of writing. If gender is equals to female, since we are checking, we will use double equals to. And then the second condition is either national is equals to national level is equals to national, or PD is equals to true. Then the person is eligible. Can we give a virtual round of applause for her? That's absolutely correct way of writing. So we can give a virtual round of applause for her. Let's move on to the next part. So I am not writing now since she has already written the solution. Now let's move on to this part. So as we were saying that we could have multiple statement conditions attached. So to one condition, we could have multiple actions following. So for example, if we say that if somebody's marks in the exam is more than 75%, then print the person is eligible for distinction, print the person is eligible to take any stream in class 11. So basis that condition of percentage, we have two actions allocated, or maybe we can have more actions allocated. So all those actions can be written one below the other. And then if you have something to be written, if the condition is false, that goes in else part. And if you have multiple if conditions, you can use elif to try multiple nested if. So there is again this if else is given. For example, if there are four brackets where four conditions which are being given. If somebody's percentage is greater than 80, print distinction. If the percentage is between 60 to 80, then print very good. If from 40 to 60, print good. Below 40, print below average. So if you have multiple if conditions, you can use if elif till the time you reach to the last concluding statement, which goes in the else part. So there you would use, instead of if, you would use elif. प्लीज मेक अ नोट, इफ के बाद भी कंडीशन आती है, एलिफ के बाद भी कंडीशन आती है, बट एल्स नेवर हैज अ कंडीशन अटैच्ड टू इट. एल्स द लास्ट पार्ट ऑफ द ट्रेल. अगर ऊपर वाली कोई कंडीशन ट्रू नहीं है, देन इट विल गो इन एल्स. हाउएवर इफ elif and else all are followed by colon sign. Now it is a practical question, like I was discussing with you about percentage question. So this is the question statement, and now see the solution this side. First, the percentage is being accepted using typecasting. It is being converted into float. Then you are checking if it is greater than equals to 90. Print, you got an excellent grade. Then else if it is greater than 80, you got B grade, very good. If it is greater than 60, you got C grade, good. If it is greater than 35, you got D grade, work harder. Else you have failed. So in this kind of scenario, if else if and last else. So this is to check multiple conditions. If elif else can be used. Now this is a program for children to try basis their age, what discount they would get on ticket, so that you can ask students to try. This is nested condition, if inside if. So if there is a if, for example, this instance, this question is given here. It says there is an if statement which checks if the number is divisible by 3. And if the first if else counter condition is true, then a second if else counter condition check if the number is divisible by 5 or not. The third if else condition, if this second is true, then it checks whether the number is divisible by both. Now, if the second condition is false, the number is divisible by 3 but not by 5, then something else should happen. Similarly, with the outer bracket, if one condition is false, then something else happens. So they are saying that to resolve this kind of problem, we use if inside if. So you see the coding done here. If the number is divided by 3, then you are checking if the number is divisible by 5 also. So if it is divided both by 3 and 5, it says the number is multiple of both 3 and 5. Else the number is a multiple of 3, but we are not sure if it is multiple of 5, because 3 के जो 5 का else वाला part है, उसमें you are writing. It means 5 से तो divisible नहीं है, 3 से divisible है. Else if the number is divisible by 5, we are saying the number is multiple of 5 but not of 3. And अगर 5 से भी नहीं है, 3 से भी नहीं है, then in else we are writing number is neither multiple of 5 nor 3. Then this is recapitulating activity. So you could use nested if else wherever needed to solve many real life problems like ticketing, grading, or maybe other complex problems. This is understanding of nested if else is needed. So this talks about a multiple homework question that you could give it to the students. This is the same question which was given above, to fetch discount on purchase of ticket depending on age. And this is another program to check multiple of 2 and 3 only, multiple of 2, multiple of 3 using nested if else. So we are not discussing the solutions. These are already a part of your resource. If you get stuck somewhere, you can see the solutions. Now let's move on to the fifth part of the presentation. I just cross-check whether it was fourth or fifth. I think fourth we did. No, sorry. Fourth is loop. So what is a loop? Loop is a program piece which allows you to repeat certain uh, commands. So if you want to repeat certain actions, for example, real life may say somebody is doing rope skipping and they're jumping 50 times. So they are doing something again and again and again. So in real life, if you want to do something again and again, we just do it one time and we put it in a code, uh, in a loop, and the loop repeat itself again and again. So these are real life examples. Somebody is running a track again and again multiple times. Clocks rotation में घूमती रहती है and it takes 60 revolution every second. Then for training a boxer, keep punching it 1,000 times. So this is called repetition, and repetition in loop programming language is called looping. Now in Python you have this for loop. In for loop you have to start with a variable when the variable range has to be specified. So if you specified the variable range as 1 comma 10, then the loop will go 10 times. Here is something called step value. My question to you is the step value optional or compulsory? So I'm not going down, just tell me, is it necessary to mention step value or it's optional? Can I just write for I in range 1 comma 10? Is the variable value of variable z compulsory or we can avoid it? So see here in the syntax part, it's given start, stop, and step value. Step value is always optional. If you do not give 2, then when it will print the output, it will give 1, 2, 3, 4, 1 to 10 will be printed. But the moment we have given step value as 2, after 1, the next variable value will be 1 plus 2, 3. Then 3 plus 2, 5. So step is to decide a customized range to change the value of the variable. Otherwise, the value of the variable is changed by 1. So if you add here step 3, it would be 1, 4, 7, and then 10. Because every time it will add 3 to the previous value of the variable. Now, this is the question. It says, you are asking somebody what is your name and how many times it should be printed. So first you are asking the name. Second, you are asking how many times it is to be printed. Let's say if it is to be printed 3 times or 5 times, you put that many times. For example, it is accepted it. What is your name? Timmy. How many cheers do you want? 3 cheers. So we are writing you rock Timmy, printing you rock Timmy 3 times because the number was also accepted from the user. Now these are loop based question. If you want to print the sum of natural numbers, so you can run a loop where you keep adding the natural numbers. Now the point here is, in some of the programs, we don't need input. And in some of the programs, where loop is used, we have to work on input. So for example, if they simply say write a program to print 10 natural numbers, there is no input required because it's a static output which is going to come up. But if they say that write a program to accept a number and then print its 10 multiples, it's a dynamic program which would give every time a different output basis the number which will be input. So there are programs with static output, there are programs with dynamic output. So wherever there is input involved and the output is by tweaking the input, then it is always a dynamic output. For example, printing first 20 multiples of the number input by the user, printing the 10, for example, 10 times the name of the user, where the name will be entered by the user. So these are dynamic output examples. But we could have programs, for example, write a program to print first 20 even numbers, write a program to print first 50 odd numbers. So these kind of program doesn't require any input and they are static output programs. So loops can be used for static output programs as well as dynamic output programs. So there are multiple type of loops. Some loops are called entry control loop, some loops are called exit control loop. एक मॉल इमेजिन कीजिए, आप एक मॉल में घुस रहे हैं, सो मॉल में घुसते टाइम चेकिंग होती है, बाहर आते टाइम चेकिंग होती है. Majorly it is at the time of entry. Nobody is worried जब आप बाहर जा रहे हो, तो because आप बाहर जा रहे हो तो आप की कोई चेकिंग नहीं करता है. But when you enter, your checking is done. However, अगर आपने किसी शॉप से कुछ सामान उठा लिया है जिसकी बिलिंग नहीं हुई है, because at the time of the billing that they remove that tag, and if the tag is not removed without billing, you have walked out, then there will be an alarm. But that frisking happens only at the entry point. So अगर आप अंदर चले गए तो then you are on, you are good to roam around. So similarly loops में भी ऐसे ही होता है. There are certain loops which are entry control loop. So if the entry condition is true, then only the loop will start to work. Otherwise loop will not work. And there are some loops which are called exit control loops. इसमें entry तो start तो हो जाती है, loop start हो जाता है, but after one execution the condition is checked, and if the condition is false then loop stops. But the exit control loops runs minimum one time. Many programming languages offer both entry and exit control loops. However, in Python, both the loops used, which is for and while, are your entry control loops. They are not exit control loop. तो अगर कंडीशन स्टार्टिंग में ही फॉल्स होगी, एंट्री के टाइम पे ही गड़बड़ है, तो आगे प्रोग्राम लूप रन नहीं करेगा. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इट सेज नंबर इज इक्वल टू 1 and run this program while number is less than 10. So number first point में number is less than 10 because number is 1, it will run. Then number becomes 3, it will run again. When number will become 5, then 7. Then the moment it becomes 9 and you print add 9 plus 2, 11. So next time 11 is not less than 10 and it will stop. So these kind of loops are called entry control loops. Now, basis the example given above, there is try it question that you can print multiples of 17 using loop. Then this is a guess number, it says आपको एक question बनाना है जिसमें you ask somebody to guess a number, and if the answer is correct, then the program says yes, of course. And if the answer is wrong, program says too low or too high. So आपने suppose किसी को बोला एक number आप guess कीजिए. So what is your number? And then you have stored a number 42. So as a computer आपने अपने मन में 42 सोचा है. So you have declared variable answer with 42 and you are asking somebody to enter a number. Now suppose if I enter 30. So while not, जब तक number match नहीं हो जाता, तो 30 doesn't match 42. So it comes inside and it says, is guess, my guess is 30. Greater than 42? No, it will come in the next part. Is guess less than answer? Yes, because my guess is 30 and your answer is 42. No, guess is too low. So this will keep, guessing till the time we don't get two numbers equal. So this is a guess game, which is very interesting and can be made very simply. So there is an example which is again given and asked, users are asked to try it. So one could see that write a Python program using while loop that asks the user to guess a number between 1 and 10, and the program should keep running until the user guesses the correct number. It should then tell the user how many trials it took to reach the correct answer. So यही ऊपर वाला प्रोग्राम है जिसमें जितने ट्रायल्स यूजर ने लिए हैं वो यूजर को और बताना है. तो आप क्या कर सकते थे इस प्रोग्राम में, Okay, I leave this question to you. ये ऊपर वाला ही प्रोग्राम है, आपको एक गेस गेम बनाना है, एंड गेस गेम तब तक चलना चाहिए जब तक यूजर करेक्ट गेस नहीं करे. तो इट इज आस्किंग, आपको साथ में ये भी प्रिंट करना है दैट हाउ मेनी गेसेस इन हाउ मेनी चांसेस यूजर गेस द करेक्ट नंबर. सो व्हाट चेंजेस वुड यू डू टू दिस प्रोग्राम टू गेट योर आउटपुट? प्लीज पोस्ट दैट इन चैट विंडो. इस प्रोग्राम में आप क्या चेंज करेंगे सो दैट यू नो यूजर ने कितनी अटेम्प्ट के बाद गेस कर लिया. So basically, we need to store the number of guesses. So I'm waiting for you for your reply to be seen in the chat window. Teachers, this is pretty easy. Either you are not with me in the session or you are not taking interest because I feel you are computer teachers. So this should be quick for you. Why I'm asking these questions in between to make sure that you are with me and we are revising it together. So my question was, इसी program को अगर आपको change करना है for us to know that in the guess game, in how many attempts user guess the correct number, what changes we will do to this program? So I will start calling out your names. Manjeet ji, Harish ji, Padma ji, Indulekha ji, please try. What should be the answer? Uh, so if you were to change this piece of code, which is here, to tell somebody in how many attempts they guess the right number, what changes would you do? So I'm not going to move ahead until I hear your replies.
Ma'am, when the guess is greater than answer the print statement, we need to add the variable by keeping y value and then less than. Both the conditions, we need to keep a variable plus 1 to be added. And at last, we can print when the answer is equal to the variable of I.
Excellent. That's absolutely correct. It means when the number is greater, so we can declare a variable counter is equals to 0 outside. And when the condition is guess greater than answer, we can say counter is equals to counter plus 1. And in the second condition also, guess less than answer, then again we can increase counter. And outside the while loop, we can print the value of counter. And we will come outside the guess while loop when both values are means equal and we have guessed the answer. Now, my another question to you is this program an efficient way of writing? Is this an efficient way of writing? Is this program written appropriately? Is the complexity of program good enough? Or we could have done some changes to make it better?
The last condition need not be checked, and you can go with elif also and else part with one if statement.
That is fine, but the last statement is just to make the print the user-friendly message. Other than also, see here, there are just three conditions. So you are using three independent if. Imagine a real life situation where there are multiple conditions, maybe 10 conditions, 12 conditions. If you put the conditions in if else, then the moment the correct condition is found, it doesn't check the trail of it. But if you are using independent if, even if, for example, आपने guess value दिया है 45, so it is satisfying the first condition, guess is greater than answer, but still it is going to check next to if because they are independent if, they are not part of if else if trail, they are independent if, so all independent ifs will be checked. So here if you see the program execution speed, it will be in milliseconds, slightly lower than a program which has if else, because in if else if ladder, the moment the matching statement is found, it doesn't check the trail of the condition. Am I clear on this part? Is everybody on me with me on this? What I spoke last, is it clear to everyone?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So always train your children to use nested if else wherever the conditions are interlinked rather than using independent if, because we teach smaller classes and we give them questions which have just one or two if else scenario, but in real life in complex programming there are 20-25 conditions to be tested together, and if children will write all 20-25 conditions independently, program will be very inefficient and its complexity will be far more as compared to a program which is written using if else. Now, this is infinite loops. So there are certain loops which keeps running forever. So, for example, you want to make a program which keeps printing, uh, "Hello, how are you?" or which keeps saying that, mm, "I will keep saying you hello until you say me happy birthday." Until you press escape and say me happy birthday. So you could use a key, you can make a Python program which in forever says, print hello, and then you have a key press event. So if the key presses escape and user after that it says, "Please enter my message," and you press the message as happy birthday, then it stops. So just search on the internet. The first of the few viruses, there was one virus which was called Joshi virus. So what Mr. Joshi did, he made a program. So he said, when on my birthday, if this program is into any computer, so he made it like a virus. So every virus is not, dangerous. So he made this virus just for fun. So he said that if my program is on somebody's system and it's 13 September, which is my birthday, it will auto start. And until unless you don't type happy birthday Joshi, it will keep saying hello Mr. Fool, something like that. So you can, have infinite loops created, which keeps on running for a certain number of time. So what are infinite loops? For example, I gave you this example of key press event in between, but imagine if there is no way to come out, then the loop is infinite. So if the loop is infinite, it means loop condition is always false. It is never true. When a loop stops, when the condition becomes false. But if the loop condition is always true, the loop will keep running. For example, here in this case, number is equals to 1. 1 is less than 6. We are not increasing 1 in the loop. So 1 is always going to be less than 6. And loop condition is forever true. So if the loop condition is forever true, loop will keep running and it becomes an infinite loop. So when a loop stop, when the loop condition become false, but if the loop condition is always true, it is an infinite loop, as depicted in this case also. So you can ask students to create certain examples of finite and infinite loop. Finite loops run for a specific number of time, and infinite loops run endlessly. Now this is some questions. With the help of loop, children can be asked to do that. There are 10 or 12 common programs, out of which one or two comes every year, like to check whether the number is prime or not, to print the table of a number, to check whether a number is perfect number or not, to print the factorial of a given number. There are standard programs, numeric problems, which are solved using loops. So make sure you make the children do all 8, 9, whatever is there in the scope of syllabus, because then their chances of getting one or two increases. So this is another interesting topic, which is data types. So usually, बाकी programming languages में there is only one type of list. What are list? Which stores multiple values. तो हम उसको arrays बोलते हैं. So Java also has arrays, C also has arrays, Python also has arrays. But in Python, you have multiple type of list. List means which can store multiple values. So it can have multiple list items. So list can be in the form of an array, it can be in the form of list, it can be in the form of tuple, it can be in the form of dictionary also. So dictionary, I think, is not discussed in the scope of this chapter. They have only discussed list, array, and tuples, and they are used to store data. So they are called storage unit. Files are also one storage unit, and even after, other than files, we have list, array, tuples, and dictionaries. So how lists are used in array in Python, that is being discussed in this chapter. Slicing is the way of extracting a bigger, means एक बड़ी list में से एक छोटी list निकालने को आप slicing कहते हैं. So sub list and all. So how we can use slicing with the use of index, that is being explained. How you can use ready-made functions, that is being explained, and how these different three data types are different from each other. List, array, and tuple, that is being discussed in this chapter. So let's see. First is list. What is list? List is a set of values. Now here the beauty is, बाकी प्रोग्रामिंग लैंग्वेज में जो भी आप लिस्ट बनाते हो, उन सब की लिस्ट के वैल्यूज का सारा डेटा टाइप सेम होना चाहिए. फॉर एग्जांपल, इफ यू आर मेकिंग एन इंटीजर एरे, इट विल होल्ड ऑल इंटीजर वैल्यूज. इफ यू मेक अ text list or a string list, it will hold all string values. But in Python, you could have list which will have mixed type of values. So for example, if you are storing somebody's name, somebody's age, somebody's weight in one list, so list will have multiple data types, items stored in a single list. For example, if you see here, there is a list called student underscore 001. It has student's name, M for gender, then roll number, then maybe class, then section. So there are multiple data types which are being stored in this same type of list. Same way, you can store, list inside list also. So how list elements are accessed? They are accessed by using their position, and their position is called index. And this process of assigning position to list elements is called indexing. For example, अगर एक list में 5 elements हैं, so the indexing will be from 0 to 4. Indexing always starts from 0, and it always stops at length minus 1. What is length minus 1? If there are 5 items, it means the length of my list is 5. But the indexes will be from 0 to length minus 1, means 0 to 4. For example, see this list which has students' name Anil, Bill, Cindy, Dan, Emily. We are printing students with the name 0. 0 is first one, which is Ellen. And then 2 is Cindy. So 1 means these. If you want to print the value of these two indexes, we could access the index 0 and index 2. So there is a common mistake which many students do. They start the index from 1. So you should repeat it multiple times with them. That always remember that the list index starts at 0 and finishes at length minus 1. This is an example of positive indexing. So I think in one of the classes with, I don't know, with this batch or other batch, I discussed, for example, if this is a list. So let's say if I insert a table here, suppose this table has stored vowels A, E, I, O, U, and then I have indexes stored. Index. So I will just delete it. So I have here indexes from 0, 1, 2, 3, and 4. So the index of this one would be -4, -3, -2, and -1. And sorry, I think I'm storing from one less. So here, negative indexing, I will just show you the example. One example is here. It would start from here. Total number of elements is 5. So it will start from 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. So the element which is, so every list has every list element has two indexes. One is positive and one is negative. So element at index 0 and index -5 is same. So that's why it was writing that every element. This is an example of positive indexes where items are chosen using their position starting from 0, moving left to right. It's like reading a book. But if you're reading right to left also, then also negative indexes can be used. Okay, now another step was, it says what is slicing? Slicing is a process of extracting a specific part of the list. For example, if you write from 0 to 3, so 0 to 3 means 0 first element, L in Bill, this is second, this is 0, 1, 2. So when you use slicing, the upper index is always exclusive. It is never included. So if I'm excluding a list, means I'm accessing a list 0 to 3, it means I'm talking about element 0, 1, 2. I'm not touching 3 here. So it says the index where slicing stop is called excluded index, right? So this is about excluding, the last index is always excluded. Step is an optional parameter. If you, as we said that in for loop also, step is uh, optional to give. Here also a step is optional to give. So for example, if I say start at 0, end at 4, and step value is 2. So after 0, it would go at 2, and then only two elements will be printed because fourth will be excluded. Now there are some built-in functions of the list. Now list is a data type, and these are built-in functions of the data type. So it doesn't need to, you don't need to import any library to use these functions. You could use them directly. For example, if you have a list with the name L1 and you say L1.len, and this list has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 elements, it will print the length as 5. However, if you were to, use any other function of maths class, then you were to import maths library, a NumPy library. But since list is a data type and these are function associated with data type, you need not to import a specific library. So append, extend, insert, remove, pop, sort, reverse index, count, copied, clear. These are all your list class functions. Append is used to add elements in an existing list. Now, there is a difference in append and extend. Append क्या करता है कि एक लिस्ट के एंड में उन एलिमेंट्स को ऐड कर देता है, और एक्सटेंड एक लिस्ट के एलिमेंट दूसरी लिस्ट में ऐड करता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, इधर फरा स्टूडेंट्स लिस्ट में ऐड हो जाएगा, जबकि यहाँ पर स्टूडेंट्स लिस्ट में स्टूडेंट टू लिस्ट ऐड हो जाएगी. सो व्हेन यू वांट टू ऐड अनदर लिस्ट at the end of first list, then you use extend. While if you want to add only elements, not list, you use the function append. Insert is to insert the element at a specific index. For example, we are saying students dot insert 2 comma Ben. So at 2 index, Ben will be inserted. So this is removing a character. You can give the index or the element. So it will remove the element. It's first occurrence only. For example, here we said students dot remove ln. So ln agar multiple times aaya is list mein, then only the first occurrence will be deleted. Removes an element from the list is pop. So pop, but pop always removes the by default if you don't give any parameter in the bracket of pop. यहाँ पर देखिए पॉप के ब्रैकेट में 3 लिखा है, लेकिन अगर आप पॉप के ब्रैकेट में कुछ नहीं लिखेंगे, इट विल ऑलवेज रिमूव द टॉप एलिमेंट. But if you give the index, it will remove the specific index element. Sort is to sort the list in ascending order. Reverse is to reverse the list of order. Index function returns the index of the first occurrence of a value. जब आप किसी वैल्यू को किसी लिस्ट में ढूंढते हैं, तो जब हम वो पहली बार मिलती है, दैट इज द वैल्यू ऑफ इंडेक्स, दैट इंडेक्स फंक्शन रिटर्न्स. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, यहाँ पर वी आर सेइंग प्रिंट स्टूडेंट्स डॉट इंडेक्स एलएन. एलएन को आप ढूंढ रहे हैं, एलएन का इंडेक्स ढूंढ रहे हैं ऊपर वाली लिस्ट में, तो ऊपर वाली इंडेक्स में एलएन 0 इंडेक्स पे है, दैट्स व्हाई द आउटकम इज 0. काउंट द नंबर ऑफ टाइम्स अ वैल्यू अपीयर इन अ लिस्ट. सो अगर ये आपको गिनना है कि एक वैल्यू कितनी बार आती है एक लिस्ट में, तो उसके लिए फंक्शन है काउंट. फॉर एग्जाम्पल, हियर यू वांटेड टू काउंट ln, so the output would be 2 because there are 2 ln's in this list. Copy function creates another copy of the list. Clear function formats all the removes all the element from the list or formats the list, clears the list. Now this is a project which says combine the groups. So there are 2 groups which are footballers and cricketers. So first you are asking how many cricketers are there. So let's say person says that we have 10 cricketers in our group or 11 cricketers, then loop will run then many times and you will input the number of cricketers and you would store them in a list called cricketers by using appending function. Every time you get the name of a cricketer, is it appended in the list cricketers. Same thing we did for footballers. We are asking how many footballers are there in the team. Then you run the loop that many times. Now, if you notice, for I in the range, हमारे पास होता था एक start value, एक stop value और एक step value. I told you step value optional है, but आप यहाँ पर देखिए start value भी optional है. Start value अगर आप नहीं डालते हैं, तो वो 1 से ही start हो जाएगा, and num means stop value आपने दिया है. So it always would start from 1. If you have not specified explicitly. Then name, footballers के name आपने ले लिए और footballers की list में हमने इसे append कर दिया. Then this is another example. It says players is equals to cricket dot copy. तो आपने cricket list की एक copy बना ली है players में और आपने उसके अंदर footballer extend कर दी, and then you are sorting this list, which is the sorted combined list of footballers and cricketers. This is another interesting questions to try finding multiples of 17. Now they are saying what are arrays. So list, basically arrays are also a kind of list. So array is a data structure जो multiple values एक साथ store कर लेता है, and it allows you to handle data effectively. The problem is you need to make sure that the array structure is homogeneous and the size of the array is fixed. So array has a fixed size while lists are dynamic in nature. So Python में array होता ही नहीं है. Python में it's always list that we use. And lists are very dynamic in nature. You can compress the size of list, you can increase the size of list. Now this is tuple. They have just given the concept of array. However, when you talk about executing, I'll just confirm that to you. So for example, if I write here, let me go to a browser. I'm writing, do we have static arrays? Do we have array as a data type in Python? Now see here, Python does not have built-in support in the same way that languages C and Java has. So it can create through some other array modules, but array is actually not a data type. A fixed size array is not something which is Python's default feature. So what you need to do, it always create an array which is like a list. So array, this is traditional उससे अलग होता है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल इफ यू से कि अगर आप किसी और में लैंग्वेज में एरे बनाते हैं तो उसका स्टैटिक साइज होता है, लेकिन here no, Python does not have a built-in data type, something like a programming languages C or Java. Python you can work around arrays using alternate modules. So array module use करके तो आप एक static array बना सकते हैं. Otherwise it doesn't have array as a data type. It has list, tuple and dictionary. Okay, let's go back here. टपल क्या होता है? टपल इज एन इम्यूटेबल. इम्यूटेबल का मतलब जिसको आप चेंज नहीं कर सकते. लिस्ट के कंटेंट आप कभी भी चेंज कर सकते हैं, लेकिन टपल के कंटेंट हम चेंज नहीं कर सकते. दैट्स व्हाई टपल इज कॉल्ड एज immutable data type. The key difference between tuple and a list is tuple is read-only data structure. Values once are entered can't be altered. So characteristics are immutability, order collection, heterogeneous, lightweight, and used for storing constant data. While if you go to list, list is mutable, dynamic, it is random data collection, it can store multiple type of data, it is very, dynamic in nature, so data may type, maybe it takes more storage space. So that's what about tuple and lists. This is a recap. Now let's come to the last part of the chapter, which is about libraries. And I think we all were waiting for that. This is class 6, chapter 6, which is libraries. So 2 or 3 libraries are being discussed here. One is Matplot library, NumPy library, and then handling CSV file using pandas. So CSV files are comma separated values. Let's see how we use it. Now, some libraries are built-in libraries. First, let's see. Working with libraries like working in an office. So they have given a comparison. Imagine there is an office where different types of technical works are done. Each work is handled by a different concerned department. Each department has specific specialists for a specific task. Now, because of this, office functions smoothly and completes work effectively on time. In Python, these office setup is similar to how code is being generated. This entire office represents a library. So as office has different section to automate certain tasks, your library has, entire office has some libraries in Python. These libraries has ready-made functions which help you complete certain tasks. Now, this is the command to install a library. For example, अगर आपको MATLAB library या NumPy install करनी है, whatever you will write pip install library name. अब आपने library इस command से install कर ली. To after installing it, next to use its feature, the library is to be imported in Python code using the import keyword. There are different ways to import. First is you write import library name. Second, import library name as an alias name from where another library name from where you are importing it. Import star will import all the libraries. For example, you see this. It says NumPy is a library to deal with numerical operations in Python. So let's explore what are its function, how would we import those. So we would first of all, we will give this command, we'll say pip install, and then you write NumPy. After that, you import NumPy, you write import NumPy, and then you give these commands. Say these are some functions of NumPy library. For example, if you write these functions, array is first one, which says 1, 2, 3. So what it would do, it would create an array with 3 elements, 1, 2, 3. If you write np dot zeros bracket size 5, so it will create an array of size 5, that is fine. But the fifth element here, so it has created an array with 5 zeros. Next one, it says create an array of ones and all with values 1.0. So it says array np dot ones 3. So ones लिखने से it tells the compiler कि एक array बनाना है जिसमें सिर्फ 1 आने चाहिए. कितने 1 आने चाहिए? 3 1 आने चाहिए. np dot arrange 1 to 11, it will arrange numbers 1 to 11 in an array in alphabetical order. Upper limit is not included so that it will give the answer as 1 to 10, not 1 to 11. Now here 10, 20, 30 का mean निकालना है. So np dot mean, it would give the output as 20. Find the medium. np dot medium, 4 values are given. Now if there are any maths teachers, they know that mean and median are different. So these are statistical function. That's why this output is not same. Also there are 3 values and here are 4 values. So you can check mathematically what is the formula being given in the book and calculate accordingly. It says create an array with 5 random values. So where we are creating an array with 5 random values. These are 5 random values which are being given. Now see, this is so simple to be done with the help of library. I remember when we used to do Java and we used to create an array of random numbers. So we would write an entire code. However, random function was there in maths also, but we did not have the liberty to create all random number in one command. We would use a loop, and within loop we would use random function. Here you could say you want random values. How many random values? Of 5. So an array of size 5 will automatically be created. Similarly, you have this project mean median. It says first import the NumPy library so that you can use many function. We are writing import NumPy. How many values? We have created an empty list. We have run a for loop. How many times? How many values user is asking? Then we are asking user to input a value and we are appending it to a list. We are finding the mean of this data which is being entered using numpy.mean. If you want median also, then you could write median of data is numpy.median. So very simple to be done. Next library is SciencePy. So in order to install it, you would write pip install SciencePy, SCIPY, then import the statistics package from it. So scientific library से आपने stat package निकालना है. तो you are saying import NumPy, import SciencePy, from SciencePy import stat. So SCIPY is for scientific Python library. From there, you are importing stats library. So we have written the command like import the master library, and from that master library, we are importing just the stat package. Then we are asking import how many values. We are storing those many values in, it is given here date. So date was already, for example, it says how many values. So let's say 5 values we are saying, and whatever values are coming, we are adding those values into data. So, it's not date, it's data. So we are appending those to data array, and then using NumPy, we are finding its mean and median. And we are using this from the stats library, we are using mode function to find the mode of this data, and mode of the data then we are printing. So for mean and medium, we are using NumPy, and for mode, we are using SkyPy, and the stat library from a stat package from SkyPy library. So you could, import more than one library also in the same program. Now, third kind of library is matplotlib. With the help of it, we can plot the graphs in Python. So create matplotlib.pyp lot as plt, this is alias name, as plt dot plot, and then this is alias value dot show. The point plotted here is 110, 220, 325. So you can make out these points are being plotted. ये जो point यहाँ पर दिए थे, 1 का match 10 के साथ, 2 का 20, 3 का 25, and 4 का 30 के साथ. So we are using these points for plotting, and after plotting we are showing it. Then this is project line chart. How do you make a line chart in Python? So you are first importing the library matplotlib.pyplot. This is alias name. Then we are saying enter x coordinate for first point, enter y coordinate for first point. And then this is starting position. So, and this is destination position. So between the sender and destination, we have given this plt.plot starting points x1, y1 to y1, y2. So हमने plot करने के बाद we have said show. So using this matplot library, we are able to plot line graph. We are also able to plot scatter graph. So this is a scatter graph. Scattered graph shows this kind of points to find out the minus values that are being used. Then we have panda libraries. So panda libraries को भी आप सीधे import कर सकते हो. This is a Python library for handling structured data such as tables or and the data which resides in CSV files. CSV files are your notepad files, and you can even say that your Excel files in its raw form is CSV file. So it has tools to clean, transform, and analyze data, and making data manipulation more efficient. So some of the pandas library functions are given as here. So the first one is read and view a CSV file. तो आपने panda को import किया है as alias name pd, then pd.read करके आप फाइल को read कर रहे हैं. So I think here it says that you have to write the full path of the file. Then display the first n number of rows. अभी जो आपने read किया है, अगर उसकी 10 lines या 6 lines हमको display करनी है, then we can use this command df.display bracket में you write the number of lines you want to display. Working with pandas, so more examples are being given. Pandas basically is used to read your CSV file. If you want to read the files or describe the file, let's say this was the file which had a table. So imagine this was the file, it had some table. Now you are asking this to be opened in read mode, and then you are using the function describe. So describe function will describe ये class क्या है, इसके अंदर क्या data है, so it will explain. Similarly, you are again saying import pandas at pd, and then you are saying pd.read CSV is a ready-made function to read CSV file. Then you are giving one CSV file. So in that case, when you are saying df.info, so information में ये क्या print कर रहा है? It is printing how many records are there and what is the data type of each type of field. Similarly, you have again this one more example to read record. If not just column name, it is reading the full records. Then this is to read the CSV file. Panda.read CSV is a built-in function to read the CSV file. Now this is to display the dataset information. So as I said, info function can be used to display the information. To print the header row of the CSV file, you could use the head function. It means to display the column heading, we need to print the head function. Now, some of the libraries which are used in AI part, they enable Python to give solution to AI powered problems. For example, here says OpenCV, open source computer vision library, is a popular Python library used for working with images and videos. It helps in tasks like reading, resizing, converting to grayscale, and make more meaningful use in AI and computer vision. अब एक एग्जाम्पल दिया है. फॉर एग्जाम्पल दे आर सेइंग import CV2. ओपन CV is installed with the name CV2. So ओपन CV को हमने इंस्टॉल किया है CV2 के नाम से. Then it says image is equals to CV2 dot insert, and then CV2 dot im read, and then the path of the file is path of the um, image file is given. So im is a short form for image, read is a function to read the image. So OpenCV is installed with the name CV2. So when you are saying CV2 dot image read and read this file, so it read the image from the specified file path and stored in the variable image. Now see this example also. In the image variable, you are reading the image of the drone, and then you are saying show it. Where do you show it? Show it in a window as an image. Wait key 0 means then you wait for 0 seconds, means after showing the image. If you wanted to wait for certain settings, you can say wait key and then the number. Then there are more libraries of CV2 for image processing. It closes all the windows that were previously opened. So destroy all windows function is for that. To display the images, height, width, and number of color channel. So you have again imRead function, and then you are saying image.shape. So shape function tells about the, say here 2250 is the height in pixel, 3000 is the width, and the number of channel is 3. So when you are printing shape, it is giving these details. What are these details? Which talks about height, width, and number of color channel. Resizing an image means here if you are resizing, you can give the size and it will resize the image. Similarly, this is again related to image. So if you are reading an image and you want to print it, so you can read the image, and at the press of a wait key, the image can be deleted. So first you read an image, wait for some time, and then you can delete it. That's possible. Life use cases. Now we started with this question in the beginning, that an atom has multiple particles, millions of particles. When they are broken down into these particles, then who make essence of all this data and how this data is studied? So we then said that there is a need of programming. Nobody can manually read and analyze humongous amount of data. Now we are coming back to the same question. It says that the Large Hadron Collider created an enormous amount of complex data from high-speed particles collision, far too much for a human study to understand manually. To make sense out of it, scientists turned to NumPy, the Python library designated to handle large numerical data set. With its help, we could organize, process, and analyze data quickly and accurately. And they were able to confirm the existence of Higgs boson, also called as God particle, a major step in understanding how matter gets its mass. So they have here stated the use of NumPy. So basically in this chapter, and as in the CBSE syllabus, there are 3 libraries which should be introduced to the students. One is NumPy, SciencePy, and Stat library function. And last there was this CV2 which was being given to read the CSV files. So read CSV function is important, and we can import CV2 to use various functions related to importing, opening, reading, destroying the image files. So Python is most in demand programming language in this world. It is used in roles like AIs, data science, machine learning, web development, and automatic professionals such as Python developers, AI engineers, data analysts, machine learning engineers rely on Python for simplicity. Now, the advantages libraries has built-in ready-made functions which can be leveraged without coding them. So it saves time. These are ready-made functions. NumPy is used to help with maths and numbers and arrays. SciPy is extra. It is a scientific tool library which has many statistical tools. Matplot turn data into visual stories. Pandas handle structure like table and CSVs. And open work libraries, OpenCV work with images and computer vision. And Python is our passport to modern tech career, means it offers us many ready-made libraries to implement computer vision and to do data analysis. That's why it says that it's a ticket to um, modern world programming. Now, this is a question which is being given, and there was one sample question like this in the practice question also, that create a NumPy program to calculate mean, median, mode for a set of 7 test scores. So I'm sure students will be able to do it looking at the reference. Now, with this, the chapter is over. There are 6 parts. Now, if you see after the class presentation, uh, with every presentation you have, let us just go back to the chapter we were doing. This is, I think, of different chapter. So I go to our batch here. And then I go to this Python chapter. And if you go to practice, you can practice here only. So your platform is built here only. So if I say x is equals to, let's say 4, y is equals to 7, 6, and then I say, print x comma y. Sorry. Then I say run code. Okay, just 1 minute. So it's the beauties this platform has both the run environment also embedded, so the children can even try then and there here only. So our values were x was 4, y was 6. Then I said x comma y is equals to y comma x. So values got swapped. When we are printing, x has become 6, y has become 4. So you can actually run the code here only and practice from within this platform only. Now, if I go back to the resources and I take from the classroom presentation number 6, and I pick up this plot function, which was very interesting to plot graphs. So for example, I take this one. Yeah. So I am just copying this program. So what I'll do is I'll go to the practice part here. And I would like to see practice is not highlighted in the chapters, which doesn't need Python platform. So chapter 7 need Python platform. Now, for example, if I say here, import, the moment you write first 3 letters or 4 letters, so I'm writing matplotlib.py plot as just I'm using an alias name so that next time I don't have to write so much, I'm using the plot function and giving 4 parameters. And after plotting, I'm saying plt.show. And then I'm saying run code. Okay, just some error in this line. This editor is very small. I'm not able to find even my own typing this thing. Okay, sorry, I have not given the end coordinator. I've given starting x-axis, y-axis coordinators. I coordinates I have not given 20, 25, 30. So I have to give starting and ending both in the bracket because it's a function. I wish I could zoom it a little bit more. Let me just try it once again. Mat plot lib library. Let us take this dot PYP report D. Great, I think. Okay, I'm not using alias. सीधा चला के देखते हैं. Some problem with this platform अभी. Let me run it directly. Some problem with this platform only. I think code given in the code is correct. So I tried with or without alias, but I'm sure when you will try, एक बार online देख लेते हैं if there is any online compiler. Then we can check if it is working there. If any one of you have it on your system, you can try plotting a graph. I tried it before the session. It works perfectly fine. I don't know what went wrong in terms of anything library, but it works. So for example, let me just copy paste that code here. Three. I think the package had to be added first, then the function would run because earlier it was fine. So you can try adding that package. It says Python here. So I think in the previous step when we installed it on Anaconda, it was given how to link it. So that linking first requires to be done. You just copy when you try it from the book, the command which is given, you just copy paste because I tried it in the afternoon on my another system. It was working. I'm sure it will work for you. So three main libraries you need to try: a stat class function, numpy function, and then this plotting one, and your to read the CSV files. That's in your course. And with that, we end with this chapter. Uh, I'm sorry, I could not show plotting right now. It's troubling. Colab, sir, I tried even in the command prompt version earlier. It was working on my system. I'm on another laptop. Otherwise, I would have shown. I think we have to add that. MATLAB, yes. Anita ji, you're saying, you're right in saying it's not installed. I have to first install it, and then that's why that Anaconda installation part, which I skipped, was mandatory because I thought during demo it will take more time. I did it on another system and checked it in the afternoon. It was working. So if you copy the command from book, it will work perfectly fine. So you can try it later on after installing. But the commands given in the book are absolutely correct because I checked those and they are working, and your children will be able to plot a graph. So in case you have any other question, you can put it in the chat window. So basically, it's a very, very introductory level use of AI. Though the chapter says Python and AI, however, there is automation through functions. It's not really any great AI that is being used. But to explain students, you can talk about, that certain task which is being automated, that's being catered with the help of ready-made library functions, and very few libraries which are in the course that can be introduced. Even if you go to ChatGPT and ask that, can I get a small project with the help of use these threefold libraries for my children to practice and have feel of how libraries automate tasks in Python, it will give you beautiful examples. So I did it last time to create some 5-10 class projects which they could finish in 2 to 3 periods, and it also gave a step-by-step guide for the children to follow. Thank you very much everybody for joining. In case there are any queries, I'm here for 2-3 more minutes. Feel free to put them in chat window, and I'm sure you'll be able to leverage these beautiful resources created by SuperTeacher team. This is such a beautiful platform that you get on one app. Everything like your lesson plan, your class presentation, your chapter resources. It's very handy and easy to use for a teacher. Thank you, Harishji. Thank you for your kind words. Thank you. I am glad that I could add some value to your learning. Thank you so much.